Daniel kicked me right in the nuts. Man, did it bloody hurt. One of my testicles has been ripped right out of the scrotum, and it was hanging between my legs, and gee, there was blood and there was bits of fat tissue down all over the place, and got booted right in the face, and I lost 3 teeth on my right hand side. So I just carried on, got on with the game. Every ruck they climbed into, they booted us, they kicked us, and we just carried on playing and giving back as much as we could. And then I looked up at the same time, and as I looked up, John Garraway was horizontal, and he hit me straight in the middle of the forehead. Man, he knocked me out cold. Took me 2 minutes to come round, and Jock Hobbs said, "You can't go off, you've got to stay. We've got no one on the bench. They're all injured." And so we carried on playing.
One of the Australian guys opened up his head, and I saw his brain, and then the blood started pulsating, and I'm going, oh, but, you know, I might get dirty. But anyway, the doctor rang on, and Buck said, "Give me some Vaseline." The doc looked at me and said, no, mate, you need to get off the field. That's really serious. And Buck said, "Give me some Vaseline, Doc." Doc said, "No, mate, that's a big cut. You need to get off the field." And Buck said, "If you don't give me the Vaseline, Doc, they'll carry you off the field." So Doc pulls out the Vaseline. And
Wayne "Buck" Shelford is one of rugby's greatest and toughest players. An icon whose name is synonymous with resilience, leadership, and an unwavering warrior spirit.
Rocky's getting away with bloody murder. Bex?
When Buck Shelford talks, others usually listen.
Let's just think about it, the scrum. We're not pushing through, are we?
A fearsome number 8 for the New Zealand All Blacks during the 1980s. Shelford's reputation as the toughest man to ever play the game is well earned. Most famously demonstrated in the infamous Battle of Nantes in 1986.
3 words. The Battle of Nantes. I'd have to say it was the toughest game of rugby I'd ever played in. And I'd say tough, it was brutal.
In that brutal test match against France, Shelford suffered a series of injuries that would have sidelined most players permanently. He lost several teeth, was knocked unconscious, and most famously, he had his scrotum torn open by a raking boot. Unbelievably, he carried on playing, and this moment cemented his legendary toughness and became rugby folklore.
And about 10 minutes into the second half, I went down over Daniel de Broca and ripped the ball off him, and as I stood up, Daniel kicked me right in the nuts. Man, did it bloody hurt. So I was cringing there for a little while, and sat down on the ground to try and get my breath back, and chucked a bit of water down there, and I thought nothing of it, and I carried on playing. And the All Black changing room is very, very morbid, very, very quiet after a loss, and this is the first loss that I'd experienced in the All Black jersey. I decided to get dressed. I stood up, ripped my gear off, pulled my strides down, and then one of the guys from across the room, I think it was Gary Wetton or John Gallagher, and they saw something I didn't see originally. They said, "Holy shit, look at that!" One of my testicles has been ripped right out of the scrotum, and it was hanging between my legs, and gee, there was blood and there was bits of fat tissue down all over the place, and went out a quick shower, and then basically went upstairs into a medical room and got it all tidied up and put back together. And you know, just these sort of things do happen, and you've just got to play on.
I think there was 46 stitches in the end. And then the strength of the guy to be standing at the bar having a beer 2 hours later, coming back from the hospital, you know, like, doesn't make sense.
Hi everyone, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, it would mean the world to me if you would please hit the subscribe button, as actually 80% of my viewers haven't subscribed yet, and it's all free, it won't cost a thing. And my next goal is to get the 100,000 subs, so thank you very much if you do subscribe. Please leave a comment, hit the thumbs up button, as it really helps with the channel. Thank you so much. Beyond his physical resilience, Shelford was a world-class player and a natural leader. He captained the All Blacks from 1987 to 1990, a period during which New Zealand remained unbeaten under his leadership. One of his most significant achievements was leading the All Blacks to victory in the inaugural 1987 Rugby World Cup, setting the foundation for New Zealand's dominance in international rugby.
Wayne Shelford, standing in the tackle, extremely strong man.
Shelford's impact went beyond the field. He is widely credited with reviving the All Blacks pre-match haka, restoring its intensity and cultural authenticity. Before his influence, The haka was often treated as a mere formality. Under Shelford's leadership, it became the spine-tingling war cry that it is today, a psychological weapon that has since become a cornerstone of New Zealand rugby identity. Despite his incredible record as captain, he was controversially dropped from the All Blacks in 1990, a decision that remains one of the most debated in New Zealand rugby history.
You are judged by your fellow All Blacks, not me, by your fellow All Blacks, as being the greatest number 8 in the history of the game. What have you got to say about that?
Oh, that's a nice thing to hear from your old buddies and that. And I just think all I wanted to do, was play good football for my country, good football for the Māori team, and that's all I wanted to do. And come 1990, I wasn't good enough, so I got dropped out of the team, and life goes on. We've got to remember it's only a sport, and there's far more serious things in life than sport. And it's our health and well-being of our mothers and fathers and our grandparents and our kids.
His departure marked the end of an era of unbeaten dominance. Following his All Blacks career, Shelford took his talents to Northampton, where he became a cult hero for the English club. His time at Northampton Saints between 1991 and 1993 was marked by the same toughness, leadership and charisma that defined his international career. At a time when English club rugby was still transitioning into professionalism, Shelford brought a professional mindset and a high standard of physicality that elevated the team. He was respected not only for his performances on the field, but also for his mentoring of younger players, passing down his warrior mentality to the next generation. Northampton fans adored him, and he remains one of the most beloved overseas players in the club's history. Off the field, Shelford is known as a humble, no-nonsense character, fiercely competitive but always respectful. His leadership was built on actions rather than words, and teammates knew they could follow him into any battle, both literally and figuratively. His sense of humour, approachability and genuine love for the game made him one of the most respected figures in rugby history. Even after retiring, Shelford continued to be a passionate advocate for rugby and for men's health, speaking openly about issues like cancer awareness and mental well-being. Wayne Buck Shelford's legendary toughness extended far beyond the rugby pitch. In 2007, he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, a serious form of cancer that affects the immune system. True to his warrior spirit, Shelford approached this battle the same way he did on the rugby field, with resilience, determination and an unbreakable mindset. Throughout his treatment, he remained open about his struggles, raising awareness about men's health issues and the importance of early detection. He endured chemotherapy, a grueling process that would test even the toughest individuals, yet he faced it head-on without complaint. His fight against cancer mirrored the same no-nonsense approach he had taken in rugby. No shortcuts, no self-pity, just grit, perseverance and an unwavering belief in beating the odds. Fortunately, Shelford successfully overcame the disease and used his experience to inspire others, becoming a passionate advocate for men's health awareness, particularly in regard to regular checkups for conditions such as cancer. His openness in discussing his own battle helped break down stigmas, reinforcing that even the toughest warriors need to look after their well-being. Wayne Shelford's courage in fighting cancer only solidified his status as one of rugby's greatest fighters, both on and off the field. His story is not just about rugby, it's about resilience, survival, and inspiring others to never back down from life's toughest challenges. In the 2021 Queen's Birthday Honours, Wayne Shelford was appointed a Knight Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, acknowledging his significant contributions to rugby and community.
Arise, Sir Buck, or officially Sir Wayne Thomas Shelford, rugby's newest knight, a man whose legend continues to grow, from making sure the haka was performed correctly by the All Blacks to that incident in Nantes, France, to the Bring Back Buck signs. Andrew Saville with the reluctant knight.
It's not hard to find these sorts of images of Buck Shelford, a hard and uncompromising number 8, unbeaten as an All Blacks captain across 31 games.
It's quite humbling, So, where'd this come from?
From a number of circles, in fact, the Rotorua-born knight not just being honoured today for his time in rugby, from club rooms to test venues, but also naval service, years of community work and Māoritanga, starting with making sure the kamati haka was performed properly by the All Blacks. This after an approach from younger players in 1985.
We got permission to do it from the management, and the players decided to do it. But I said, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it properly. Because all those hakas that I've seen on TV, over the last 20, 30 years, they look terrible. Out of time, all that sort of stuff. They're not really pronouncing the words right, all that stuff. So let's do it properly, so we're not embarrassing Māoridom.
Sir Wayne's playing days will be remembered when strong-arm tactics rather than TMOs ruled. There was the violent French series in 1986, where he lost 4 teeth and suffered a scrotum tear. From the heights of the 1987 World Cup, then the lows of being axed as a player and captain in 1990, starting that famous movement. His family only finding out about the knighthood today with the rest of the country.
I just want to be Buck Shelford, who lives in Silverdale, Red Beach, and I've got a business, That's all I want. But, it's a great honour, and I think my family are pretty proud.
Sir Buck Shelford turns 65 next year. He's definitely not slowing down, continuing to lead in all areas. Andrew Saville, One News.
Wayne Buck Shelford's legacy is more than just his toughness. It's about the way he embodied the values of rugby, the courage, the leadership and the integrity. He was the ultimate warrior, the enforcer who led by example, and a player who left an indelible mark on both New Zealand and world rugby. Whether it was his legendary endurance in the Battle of Nantes, his leadership of an unbeaten All Blacks team, or his impact at Northampton, or his courage in his battle with cancer, Shelford's name will forever be etched in rugby history as the toughest man to ever play the game.